Try not to walk and run.
Covers well, those. Hello, everybody.
What's up, y'all?
This is our very first live and raw podcast. We're out on Facebook and YouTube. Those are the two that we're broadcasting on right now live. So you can watch on either one of them. If you watch this later, that's great. If you're watching live, that's great. Tyler's going to pull up the Facebook one in front of him over here so he can see if anybody's commenting or what have you. So hopefully, yeah, it'll come up there. Yeah. So once he gets that up, he'll pay attention to some of the comments. And if you want to ask a question, we'll try to answer some of those questions. I don't know that. You'll find it.
Yeah,
Part around there.
It'll pop up.
So anyway, I'm Wayne. This is Tyler. Some of the other team, Matt, Alex, and Casey could not be here tonight. They just have some other things going on. That kind of thing happens. Eventually, we will have them on as well. So it's all good. We're gonna have a lot to talk about tonight. So I mentioned YouTube and Facebook. So hopefully you guys can see all that pretty well on the screen back there. We're going to kind of summarize our visit to the Monroe House that we went to last fall. So last November, we took a visit to this establishment here in Hartford City, Indiana. It's been there a long time, so I'm trying to remember some of the years. I should put some history in front of me better. But like late 1800s, when they built like most of this, you can see the curvature on the point to the center down here. Doing very good. Need an actual pointer. So the center of the house basically was the original part of the house. It's where the crawl space and basement pretty much is. And then things were built onto it as it moved forward. But a lot of this is original too. Like this upstairs on this side is original, as far as I know. And it's just the stories of this thing is just crazy. We're going to cover some of that as we talk about our investigation. So this was Matt and I's fourth visit to this house. The third time we went, it was just me, Matt, and our friend Kim, who does cameras for us. The second visit was me, Matt, my brother. Who else was on that one? And then, like our first visit, I believe my brother and nephew were on the first one. Michelle was on that. She's on camera for us before. We had been watching some of the videos. You probably met her on here. The very first one was crazy because it was like 0 outside and it was 0 in the house. So it sucked. It was horrible. And they had this tiny little heater about yay big, and that's all the bigger it was. We literally took turns standing in front of it to try to warm up just a little bit so you could go and do a session in a room or something. And you weren't in there very long. You went back to get in front of that heater.
Back to the heater.
Oh, it was crazy. It was still worth it. We picked up some good stuff in there. It was really cool. And we'll talk about that at one time. We'll do another podcast on more on the Monroe House because of all the visits we've had there. There's just so much, to talk about with this place. It's crazy. And so we're going to go over the one from last fall that Tyler was on. This was also the first time we've ever stayed in a location for 2 nights. All the visits to this place before and any other place was just 1 night. So this was our first 2-night stay anywhere, which was really cool. This was also Tyler's very first investigation. He came on board the team late last year, and so this was his first outing. It was also Casey and Alex's first outing. And at some point in a future podcast, we'll talk to them about that in their first time out and get their 2 cents. But so Tyler, give us kind of your 2 cents on your first outing. We did some different things with you that we hadn't done with someone else.
Yeah.
Right when we started.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely understand why there is a, I wouldn't say a need, but it is more beneficial to first and foremost go on 2-night investigations. Just from the experiences that I've had so far, it is quieter on the first day than it is the second day, but Monroe House is just a different beast of its own. I mean, right when we had gotten there, I'm blindfolded, so they're kind of putting me to the test and seeing what I can pick up on blindfolded, literally. Like, I am blind, just walking in the dark.
And I had on that real quick, the blindfold thing, a little comical when we first started out. So it was me, Tyler, and Matt, and Matt was driving. We stopped at a pizza place first to get a bite to eat, and when we left, Tyler didn't really want to see the trip to the house, and we were a number of blocks away. And so he went ahead and put the blindfold on, and he's sitting in the back of the truck. And I said, this is going to be great, because we took a wrong turn out of the pizza place, so we had to turn around, and we cut through this school, like an elementary school, to get back on track in the neighborhood we needed to get into. And Tyler sitting back there blindfolded, and I was like, this would be great if a cop went by and sees Tyler blindfolded in the back and wondering if we're kidnapping somebody. That would have been pretty comical to explain.
Well, Hartford City would have gotten some entertainment for
It had
sure.
a story.
But to kind of piggyback on that, yeah, I didn't want to know a whole lot about the location itself. I didn't really want to know a whole lot about the history. I didn't know what the layout of the house was. I've never seen any sort of pictures of Monroe House itself. I really did want to go in, no pun intended, because I know it's live and raw, but I wanted to go in very raw and kind of see like what I can pick up, aside from the other times that you guys have been there, and maybe give some sort of additional insight that hadn't been picked up previous. So I absolutely remember going into kind of that washroom that actually has the bathroom and then the staircase to the basement.
Yeah.
And there was just this one doorway that I'm like, there's no chance in hell, like, I'm going through this doorway and I'm blindfolded. Every time they would spin me around and I would face this doorway, I'm like, ooh, there is something not good going on here. And I think it was more so rooted from the basement itself being just like right there next to the doorway.
Yeah.
So that was a very interesting feeling. Probably the first time I've ever felt any sort of, I don't even know a word for it, but I was very cautious about messing with it for too long. And then I'd say the second weirdest one was when we were in the parlor, and
Yeah.
It's not a parlor anymore. Of course, when I took my blindfold off, I realized it's not a dining room or anything.
Yeah. It looks like it was probably a dining room
At one
because
point,
of
yeah.
the light, the chandelier type thing that's on the ceiling. And back then, I mean, you remember houses weren't open layouts.
Oh no.
You know, every room was a separate room. Every room had its purpose. It wasn't a big open layout like what is popular today. And this room, more than likely, was a dining room.
Yeah. That's what it felt like to me very much. It definitely makes the most sense. But when I walked in, there was definitely a feeling of there's a lot of shit in here that's really messed up. And if you go back and watch there's a picture of it. If you go back and watch that specific beginning of Monroe House from last year, I question, are there dolls in this room? And if you can tell by the picture, there's quite a few dolls.
One right in the middle. There's actually two here. There's one here. There's one here. And then there was one here.
Very top left.
Which has an interesting little story.
Yeah, so that, again, I can't see any of this, but I specifically point to this doll in the top left. Never been there, never seen pictures. I'm like, this one is. I've said something like, this is really effed up. This doll is this doll's weird.
He did. So when he walked in, so you see me on the side over here, right in the doorway. He walks in and he turns to his left, so he's facing these cases, these glass cases with the blindfold on, and he immediately said, "Ooh, are there dolls in here?" And so Matt and I were with him and kind of looked at each other like, "Yeah," you know, but we didn't. We told him, "Yeah, there's some dolls in here." And so he took a step more, and he was kind of facing the very middle. I'm pointing at the screen here, but the middle case, and he points up to, if you're looking at the screen to the left, and he points to this little doll right here, and he says, "I don't like that one."
Mm-hmm. Well, after I was able to take my blindfold off, and I got to look at everything that was in these casings, that doll in the top left is the only one that is really jacked up because she's holding a knife and her white dress is covered in blood.
I think it's this hand right here that's got the knife in it.
Yeah.
And this hand here, I believe, is just out. Like she's doing this.
She's chasing somebody.
Yeah, and it's creepy, and her eyes are kind of a little blacked out. It's
very
it's not
weird.
An attractive doll.
It's a very weird doll. Out of all the dolls in there, that's definitely the most strange. Oh yeah.
So here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's looking a little grainy, but yeah. So I believe there's like this little knife in her hand there, and then this hand is just out. And then like the doll down here, it's got this ugly, almost burnt up looking face. That's yeah.
But the rest of the dolls, for the most part, I mean, you can see the doll right there next to Ouija. Even the one in the middle, which has a more jacked up backstory than we really delved into being there. But
what was the story on that?
So that doll was possessed, allegedly. I don't remember where it initially generated from, but it kind of is like the doll that inspired.
Kind of like the Annabelle.
Yes,
one of those.
yeah, kind of like one of those scenarios, which is why it's in that box. But I don't know the full backstory of it.
It's just pictures and things on some of these other.
Which, it's really interesting because actually I think this room was one of our first that we did any sort of sessions in, and we didn't really get a whole lot.
We didn't.
It was very quiet. And for those who've
the
not...
backside of this room over here, there's a table.
Oh, yeah.
Also looks like, I think it looks like a Ouija board.
It is,
Big round table.
Yep.
And there's chairs around it, and we all sat in there kind of like, not around the table, but somewhat on at the sides and in front of it. And we had some lights, and we had all the other lights turned off, just little colored lights going, and doing like a seance type thing. And we really didn't get anything in that room.
No, that room was pretty quiet, which surprised me because I felt like we would be able to communicate with something in this room, but generally for the entire 2 nights it was relatively quiet outside of some orbs that we captured in other pictures, but for the most part it was really quiet.
At least in that room.
Yeah, which again, this room specifically. And for those that have watched several of our videos, we do find what we would consider home or safe spaces within the locations that we're traveling to, and it's generally these types of rooms where we're not really getting a whole lot, and it feels pretty quiet in general. Here's the other one.
This would be like a safe space, if you will, because when you go into Monroe, you come into this door over there. So this is basically the staging area. Back off this side, you can see Casey in the red. So back to that far corner to the right of her is the stairs that go to the second floor. And then if you come back this way to where the camera actually is, that leads into the kitchen and then to the rest of the house. And so we all had to pick a place in this house because we were staying for 2 nights to set up our bedding and all that, and we were just going to leave it there. And we sleep both nights in that place. So who slept here was Matt, and what he did, he took the cushions off of this couch here, and laid him right here on the floor, about where Alex is standing, and put his sleeping bag on it, and he slept right there in the staging room there. Let's see here. So this was a room, and we'll explain what this room is in a minute, but this room had 2 double beds in it, so Casey and Alex, they're the sweet couple that investigates with us, so they slept in this room. And it's a funny joke, and it probably, I don't know if they get upset that I tell them this, but so they wanted to push the beds together because they didn't want to sleep separately in 2 separate beds, even though they were in the same room, not but 4 feet away from each other. And I don't remember which one of them made the comments, but right, Casey. But it was funny. It's cute. We said no, they had to leave them separate, and they did. They left them separate, and that's the way they slept. So it's not funny.
Which, side note on that room also felt very safe. Very.
It did. There wasn't
not a whole lot.
I didn't feel like anything was happening in that room.
No.
And it's funny, this room didn't always look like this. The carpet was there, the paneling was there, the beds were not there. And at one time, there was nothing in this room except this. It was like a Halloween character that stood like yay tall. I'm moving my hand over here. I'm getting off camera, so it was probably about yay tall, maybe 5 feet. And it was all hunched over and creepy, and had this like cloak over, hood over it and stuff. And it had this scary face. It was definitely a Halloween decoration, but it was like the only thing in that room.
As if the house isn't creepy enough.
Yeah, and when you didn't know it was in there and you would walk in there, it would startle you at first. You're not expecting anything to be standing there, let alone something shaped like a creepy person.
Oh, we should have brought the mistress of the house down there for him.
Oh, yeah, we should have. Yeah, and I did something bad on our first investigation, and I'll bring this up even though it wasn't on this investigation, to Monroe, but our first visit there to Monroe, Michelle had actually shown up after I think she was working or something, she came a little later, and we all kind of did it on purpose, and nobody told her it was in there, and so when we gave her a little tour of the house when she showed up, we didn't tell her that was in there, and she walked right in and kind of startled her a bit. Yeah, we pick on each other quite a bit. Even today's team, we pick on each other often. When we do it, we're not on investigations. We all hang out with each other quite a bit. So anyway, that was that room where they stayed. Tyler, you stayed in this room.
Yeah.
This room turned out to be very active in this investigation.
Well, I think I'd known that prior. Actually, no, I think I thought it was still stuff.
So this bed was not there. Tyler brought this with him. He
Yeah.
just he brought this with him. So this whole room was pretty much empty except for the chairs and stuff you see on the side. And on the other side of that chair, there's a TV. And then follow the wall around. There's another chair that looks like it. And then you go on around. It goes out. The wall where his bed is. There's a hallway on the opposite side of the wall, and that takes you out of that room. But there's this orb when we took this picture, and I just didn't see it when we took it. These were just kind of random pictures when we get there and do our walkthroughs. Just randomly take pictures, and you see this round orb right here, very, very defined. It's all by itself. So you're going to rule out dust, because dust is many small particles all over the place. And we have a photo to kind of show you what that difference is. So a lot of people are always like, well, how do you know it's orb? How do you know it's dust? Well,
there's a difference.
You gotta look, yeah. And dust is not, dust doesn't show up that large. Now I don't know, is an orb paranormal, is an orb a ghost, is it a spirit? If I can get one to actually talk to me, I'll have that answer for you one day, I hope. But right now, we don't have that answer. But we do get them all.
Yeah.
So this room here, this is actually the room you walk into to get to the room where Alex and Casey slept. So it's right around the corner here of the mattress that I had thrown on the floor there. And this is circled up here. So this orb shows up right here. It's kind of wild. I took a picture of the room this way, and then I turn the camera and I take a picture of the room on this side to get more of the fault that you see here. And my orb's not there. And these pictures were taken like back to back, just a second apart. and it shows up in one, doesn't show up in the other. It's pretty wild.
We try and do that pretty consistently.
Yeah.
If we're taking pictures and we do notice an orb or orbs pretty quickly, we try and replicate that to see if we get the same thing, or if it does just disappear very similar like this one just did. It's there and then it's not. But it's just a way for us to kind of confirm, all right, it's not dust. It was something.
Right, absolutely.
So we try and capture multiple images in a very short span of time to rule out the possibility of dust.
Right, right. And the one thing that I just, and I can't believe it's never clicked to me before, I've been here 4 times, it literally just clicked to me like a month ago, when I was thinking about this podcast and pulling some pictures to do this. This room is actually directly above the basement, which means it's all original. This is like the oldest part of the house. And then I figured that out, 2 things, not this part. So this is, you see the door handle down in the corner, so it's standing in the door taking a picture. On the other side of the door right there is that kind of washroom that Tyler was talking about. It's got the door to the basement. So it's on that wall, right opposite this wall right here, going kind of 90 degrees the other way. So you go down the basement and then you turn to your right, which would put you right below this room.
Yes.
And then everything on the other side of these walls here are the crawl space, which happens to be
Hey TJ.
right below where Tyler was sleeping.
Of course.
This wall here, where this looks like an old door, do you see that? Looks like there was a door there, because there used to be a door there. It was actually that door right there, they closed off. So that's the opposite wall, and the crawl space is right underneath there. So the crawl space has a story.
Oh God.
So there was a paranormal team that went in there many years ago, 2017, give or take. And then this team was on TV and everything. And some of you may have seen it. And I'll give you the name of it because I love the show. It's not on TV anymore, but it was called Paranormal Lockdown. So if you look it up on YouTube, the episodes for this, they did 2 different episodes. And the reason they had to do 2 is because in their first visit, the guy, Nick, was crawling around in the crawl space and uncovered human remains. Initially they thought maybe they were animal bones, but the more they looked at them, they're like, no, that's a piece of a skull. These are leg bones, arm bones, things like that. So they had to get the authorities involved, so they shut down the investigation and all that, because then the authorities had to do their investigation. Well, they got to go back later, after the fact, and they didn't get back in the crawl space that time. It was actually boarded up. The gentleman who owns the home, Eddie, had it boarded up, so Nick could not get back in there in the second part. But they did finish the episode, and it's all on YouTube. It's a very good episode. So watch that sometime and check out the stuff that they caught in it. It's super good. Yeah, that's the place we stayed in. It's pretty cool. And to add to that, we were on this visit here. These 2 nights we were there. We were doing FaceTime calls with some people. So like everyday people, like you guys who watch us all the time. And we did some FaceTime calls with some people. And I had mentioned those episodes to one of my friends who had called in. And so she goes back like the following day or whatever, that following weekend, and she watched those Paranormal Lockdown episodes, and then she sends me a message and she says, I watched those 2 shows. I can't believe you guys stayed in that house overnight. I go, 2?
2. Not 1.
So that was kind of funny. Humor. So, what are we looking here? Okay, so this is a good photo here. So down that hallway and around that corner, that's the room Tyler was sleeping in. So again, this is just a photo taken in our normal walkthrough when we show up. And we get these 2 orbs that show up. Extremely defined. These are crazy. Dust just does not look like that. I mean, and everybody's been around dust. You scuff something up in dust, you get a lot of it, and it goes all over. It doesn't show up one piece here, one piece there.
No, it's a bunch of them.
And then they're not defined like that. We didn't have, I don't recall having a whole lot
No, we didn't really
of
get a whole
attention
lot
in
in
this
there.
room. The hallway, the end of the hallway leading into your room that you stayed in.
Yeah, that's where
That's where the attention.
one of the cat balls was sitting, and that one was going off pretty frequent. And we, with all of these devices,
Cat balls.
yes, with these devices, we try and be very conscious of like how we're stepping or what we're around. So if you see us using the cat balls and somebody is too close and it changes the floor, it'll set it off. Or if we're walking around with the K2, and we're too close to electricity.
This one's not going off because it's
Yeah, it's old.
there it goes.
This will spike if it's near a phone. So we're always trying to be conscious of like, all right, what is an explanation that these things are actually happening, and then there's sometimes that there's just not one.
These sensors are really good. When the batteries don't get old in these things, they work great.
Oh yeah.
And we had some really good. We had these going off really good in that room where Tyler was when we were doing a session in there. We had them placed, staged around the room. Like there was one behind us, there was one on the TV, there was one on chair. Let me go back to that. So there was one on this big couch looking chair there, and then that way on the TV, and then around that wall there's another one, and then behind us where we were standing, kind of like where you see me taking a picture here, there was one. And we were doing a session, because we had the regular ball on the ledge, on the edge of that couch, trying to get that to move, get it knocked off, what have you. And all of a sudden the cat ball behind us, nobody's moving. We're all standing still watching this thing, trying to get it going. The cat ball behind us goes off. So it gets everybody's attention. We turn and look at it. Then the cat ball on top of the TV goes off. Then the cat ball on the couch goes off. As if what we thought we had been communicating with a child spirit. So we were under the impression that it was playing with us by running around the room setting off these little cat balls, which was really cool.
Yep. And that interaction with what we believe to be a child kind of continued later on, which we'll get to that here pretty quickly, because that was probably our first big interaction.
It was.
At
That was
Monroe.
huge.
Yeah.
And Alex played a big role in that. I wish he'd have been able to be here today to help talk about that some more. Excuse me. Because that's everyone. Usually, when you're on investigation, something tends to happen to each person. You feel like, or nothing happens to somebody. And one of them we went on recently. We had a guest with us, and like nothing happened to him. I
True.
felt kind of bad. I was hoping he'd get something exciting, and he just didn't. And he even tried to do an Estes, and he just didn't get anything. And it just happens that way. You can't. Like spirits aren't going to work on cue.
No. No. They talk to and communicate with whoever the hell they want to.
They do.
We are really legitimately on their time. We try and stir shit up, but it really is on their time. They're either going to be willing to talk to the group, an individual, whatever. But there's very few things that we can do to make them, if you will.
I just want to know who's all watching, or if there's anybody watching. But if you tune in, you're watching right now. If you got a question and you're on Facebook, I don't have another feed from the YouTube one, so sorry I can't see if you ask me questions through there. But if you do through Facebook, throw us a question and we'll try and answer it for you. Good, bad, ugly, whatever. Let us know your questions if you got any. For as long as we're on here live, anyhow. And even afterwards, if you watch this video later and you got a question, throw it out there, because we'll still get a notice that somebody had said something, and we'll try to get back to it and answer you at some point. So, usually, Tyler and I are going through the Facebook stuff, so either he or I will try to get back to you and answer this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So Tyler, you slept here. Anything odd when you were sleeping?
So.
Cause I have one, but I'll tell mine.
I'll be very transparent. Again, this was my first investigation, so I kind of go off of like what I feel like is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are on like super late with us some nights, I mean we're up until the ass crack of dawn sometimes, and I was extremely tired.
You get a little slap happy.
You do.
You're really tired.
And all of the cat balls and things that Wayne was mentioning, they're still in the room as I'm going to sleep. But when I was going to bed that night, and even on any investigation, I tend to say, usually out loud, all right, the investigation's over. You're not gonna F with me the rest of the night. I'm going to sleep. We'll pick this back up tomorrow. And honestly, that settled the room down. I think one cat ball went off on the red velvet chair, and then it didn't go off again. At least that I'm aware of.
It go off like right after you said that, like maybe it was acknowledging that you said it.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty shortly after. But then I didn't have any sort of activity. I didn't really hear much of anything, so I think that at least to me, whether it works or not, that worked for me because I was able to get some decent sleep until we woke back up that morning. And what I will also say is there is a sense of unease when you're divided, like the team being divided, where it's like, oh shit, I'm like really by myself now in the Monroe House. Like, God, please just don't do anything crazy because it's not going to be captured. I joke with the team all the time. I'm like, listen, if you're gonna make me levitate, at least make sure it's on camera. Like, I'm not getting levitated and thrown across the room.
Throw you down the stairs. Or something. Make sure we're videoing that
for nothing. Like, make sure we at least get it.
And that's the hard part because we're trying our hardest to get everything caught live that we can. And if we get anything substantial, we want to catch it live because then you can't debunk it. I mean, we literally caught it live. And that's hard to do because we'll be in a room or something, you'll hear a noise, and it's like, oh shit, so you want to go get that noise. And we may have been just finishing a review or taking a small break. Because, we're awake nonstop, but we don't go nonstop. We need a break too. We stop and eat. And like on this one, we brought food with us.
Yep.
We went outside, we cooked on the grill, sat by the fire pit for a little while.
Yep.
We had some pizza and stuff, and chicken, and things will happen, and you're not prepared. And that's always our goal. I mean, that's part of why we're called Live Paranormal Point. We want to catch it live. And I'm sure a lot of, ghost hunters are the same way. They want to catch it live. I mean, that's the idea.
Absolutely.
It's one thing to catch it on recording, but if you can also have it live.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot to say about, and we've talked about it, a lot of other investigations that are out there, both on YouTube and on just TV today, is that what viewers are seeing for them is like hours and hours and hours of footage condensed down to 30 minutes or however long it is, and it's like they'll capitalize on this one small thing and make it the whole episode. I love the way that we do it, where it's like, you know what, this is just real, it's live, it's raw. Like, sometimes we get shit, sometimes we get nothing at all for an hour, and it just kind of is what it is. So you're getting a more true, realistic perspective of how these types of investigations go. Because I know not a whole lot of people even do any sort of ghost hunting or investigations like we have. So it sucks, but it is just the reality of investigating.
I mean, it's kind of like what you see on TV, but then again, it's kind of not, because TV doesn't show you all the downtime. That's why we just stay live. I mean, sometimes we've been on live for an hour and a half, and you don't get a whole lot, or you just get a little bit. But I tell you, when you're there and you get that little bit, it keeps you going.
Absolutely, 100%.
It'll bring your energy level up a lot, and then you're wide awake. You might have been getting really, really tired and sleepy. You get one little hit and you're awake for the next 45 minutes. I mean, before you just start to wind down. That is unless you don't get it. You don't get anything, you wind right back down.
If you get that one thing, though, it's like you just went through the Starbucks line and downed 6 espressos because you are back up. Like, all right, we got to keep going.
All the blood gets pumping, and you get pretty excited, and then you get a little let down because it doesn't always repeat. Like, it doesn't happen again, and you're like, you just heard that. What was it? And you're trying to get them to do it again. Like, you're trying to, you're doing knots, trying to do all kinds of different things. And That you had him pushing the ball at one time, which we were lucky enough to have on this investigation. And he wanted to do it again.
It doesn't,
they
again,
don't work on cue.
it's always on, it is legitimately always on their time.
It is.
I don't care
It's insane sometimes.
what TV shows look like or what other YouTube videos look like. It legitimately is on, it's on their time.
Yeah.
Which actually I think is a good segue into kind of like what else that we see and experiences that we've had. So what's the next one? Oh, it's the kitchen.
This is the kitchen. So to kind of keep going with the orbs thing, and
Yeah.
and we're going to touch on the dust here again. These were simple pictures again, walking through in our initial walkthrough when we first saw it. And right up here, I caught this anomaly, and so I zoomed in on it. And that is unusual.
I've never seen one like that.
That should not be there. There's nothing that would have done that on the cabinet like that.
No.
The light in the ceiling up there it's kind of a globe or whatever that
It didn't work.
And the light in that one didn't work.
We couldn't get the kitchen light to work.
Yeah, I forget what lights do work in there. To be honest,
Honest, it's not. It's going through
the one up
renovations.
here. There's the edge of the
Yeah.
thing. It does it. Yeah, that's right. That
We
one
couldn't
doesn't
get it to work.
We had this little guy on. Yeah, that little bitty guy. That was our light in the kitchen.
It did
I forgot
justice.
about that.
Yeah, we couldn't get any of these. There's a light above the sink. There's a light.
Yeah,
I mean,
that didn't turn on.
none of them worked. But they're going through renovations. As you can tell in this picture.
Yeah, so a lot of these places they'll cover the windows, and they cover them with typically black trash bags. And sometimes they're not taken care of well, and the trash bags get old. For whatever reason, you get the holes poked in them. Now, I've actually replaced trash bags before the location just because I want the window covered up and I want all that light.
Yeah.
So actually, I bring trash bags with us for that purpose. But we wanted to show this picture because we're kind of talking about the orb thing. So right in the middle there, those are kind of like light. I think these are light shining through. Probably coming from this window over here, shining on that, and it's a little more apparent here.
Yep.
And we'll zoom in on that. I think these are reflections.
So those you can tell are like
You've
very.
got a very good reflection. A circle here from this plastic, and it resembles these two little dots. I think that's putting off that reflection.
Yeah,
Or-
and they're not.
or this one here is putting something off.
They're not transparent. I mean, those
They're
are like
not.
very.
They're very white,
Here we are.
solid, just like a light reflection would be on the wall.
Yep.
These are not like, a paranormal orb, if you will. And we'll show you that difference because over here one gets picked up. Oops. And that's the one from that. And as you can tell, that is not the same at all. And almost like there's a face in it.
There's orbs. There's definitely an opaqueness to them.
They're different.
Yeah, it's
Even the
there,
outer
it's-
edges of them look different. And this one isn't perfectly round. If you look, it's kind of oblong.
Yeah, it's more like an egg.
Yeah, it's almost like an egg. It's weird. And so, I'll go back on this. So these two windows, this was really weird. In this room,
Oh yeah.
sorry, this is a little blurry. This is a little more clear, but these two windows here, for whatever reason, the K2 meters
I still don't know.
were
I don't
going
know why.
crazy up against those windows.
I don't know why.
And there's nothing on the other side of them. We checked for wires, everything we could look for to try to figure out why
Well,
those would be going
On
that
these,
way.
I took the K2 around the
Mhm.
lead, and it's not going off. The only place it goes off is like the
Right
center
in the
of the
window.
panes.
Yeah.
And there's no wiring in the middle of glass,
Anything there that
so
would set that off for any reason. And like I said, this was my 4th trip to this house, and Matt and I, we run the K2s constantly, all the time. Every investigation we go to, we're always using our K2s, and we've never had that issue in this room.
yeah. It was really weird, and it was consistent.
It was. Now, an issue we had in this room and the other upstairs bedroom, which we'll show you that in a minute. Right above, if you look right in the center at the top there's a ceiling fan. That does not work, it's not plugged in. The electrical wire isn't even hot. because I had at one time taken a wire tester and touched it up there to see if it was hot. It wasn't hot. In the last visit, Matt and I went there, directly below that, in both rooms, the K2s would go crazy. And not anywhere else in the room would they go off.
That's odd.
In our visit in the fall, they weren't doing that in the center of the room.
No.
But for whatever reason, those windows were going crazy.
Well, and here's the other thing, if you remember, when we looked out those windows, the Christmas stuff had been set up in the parking lot way adjacent to the house. So it was almost like this spirit or entity is standing at the window looking outside of this parking lot, like enamored by all the Christmas decorations that they had set up. So I'm like, ooh,
yeah.
that's there should have been no reason that K2s were going off there.
Yeah. And they weren't doing it to the other two windows.
No.
The ones over here.
On the right? No.
Only the ones on the left side.
Yep.
Yeah, really weird. And we did try to do a session in this room, I think.
We did.
I
think it's Estes. It was my Estes.
Was that your Estes in this room? Okay. I thought we might have tried you out in both rooms, Estes. I think you actually sat in chairs in both
Yes,
rooms.
yeah, the second Estes was the second day after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you
crazy.
I don't recall. Did you get anything on either one?
This room, no. Nothing.
Nothing on this one. I remember this one.
But also, after this Estes method, we realized the batteries needed to be changed in the spirit box.
We did. We ended up having to change
Yes.
this.
Oh, it's not
functioning properly.
Yes.
That happens.
Which does happen.
Yeah. Oh god. So the majority of the stuff we have all runs on freaking batteries. Because you just can't drag cords around with you all over the place. So everything either has to get charged or has to run on batteries you put in it. So we're constantly replacing batteries.
Yeah.
Constantly buying batteries. Probably one of, besides paying for the investigation itself, because a lot of people don't realize this, but most of the investigations you go on, you got to pay to be there. It is partly how they make money. The Monroe House, it's the money. I mean, that's what it is. It's a legit haunted house. I know some people aren't into that. They don't necessarily believe that. If you do, I'm telling you, after 4 trips to this place, this is the real deal. There's no question about it.
No.
And 4 trips, we have a 5th one this November. So it's pretty crazy because this November will make 5. And of the 5, 4 of them will be November.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. We had one that wasn't. So it's weird. Like November, for whatever reason, November is our time to visit this house.
Well,
for some reason.
If it's anything like last November, well, regardless, I just can't wait to get back to it.
Well, and each visit is more.
Yeah.
It's like, I was telling the guys, everybody this last time, that the activity seems to be increasing the more we go. And I've got some things in mind for the 5th visit, which I'm going to make everybody wait on that one because I got some stuff. I got some theories going on, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I got some theories going on about the basement, the crawl space, mainly the crawl, and outside. After a little more research and stuff like that. And so we're going to kind of dive into those theories on our 5th visit and just see if I'm right.
Yeah.
I got a gut feeling. And a lot of times that feeling pays off. So, where's that other one? Oh, so this
was that. This also came from that room we were just looking at.
The one we were just looking at.
And keep in mind, there was nothing happening. Like none of our sessions brought any sort of activity from that specific room. But
so if you look, like right in the center here, these 3 marks. So this is what we're going to be talking about here. This is unusual. Now, back here, there's a mark on my shirt. There's a mark over here. A mark on my sleeve. So, they are doing some work in this house, and most of that all came from downstairs because there's a lot of drywall.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that has been worked on downstairs. The room that you slept
Yeah.
is real obvious.
You could see it on the walls.
And if we jump back to that real quick, well, you can
the
see in the
hallway.
hallway here, a lot of drywall stuff. This is all on the first floor. There's the entire city. So there's
Lots of
quite
work.
a bit of that. So we're up in this room here. This is that room that we were just talking about. And I'm over on this side. I'm over by the chair. and everybody's on this side. I was using one of the cameras, and at first I thought maybe I got too close to the plastic because I felt something touch my back.
He even said it.
I even said it. We have it on video. If you watch some of the videos, I don't remember which one it is, but they're posted on Facebook and YouTube. And in the video, I mentioned I felt like something had touched me, but I kind of blew it off because I assumed I had bumped into plastic or something. And there's no drywall dust in this room at all.
There's not really any upstairs in the rooms that we spent the majority of the time. Like there's not really any renovations going on,
right,
like they are downstairs.
And after we left this room, we didn't go to another room upstairs at that time. We actually went downstairs to take a break. And we got downstairs, and I think it was Alex that saw it.
No,
Or who said,
it was. I don't know where Alex was, but it was me and Casey. Cause I was walking.
You
were sitting at the desk, like going through pictures.
Yeah.
Casey was at that candy thing, and I'm going outside. I smoke. I'm the smoker of the group. So I was going outside to smoke, so I had to pass Wayne, and I'm like, dude, what did you like lean up against? He's like, what are you talking about? So I took this picture, and he's like, holy shit. And again, this is my first investigation, so I don't have a whole lot of knowledge or insight with what specific things mean, so take it from there.
So this is not uncommon to get touched. I mean, it happens. Usually you'll feel like a simple touch on the back, like somebody just touched you like that. Or your shirt will get pulled, or your pant leg will get pulled. And then it's usually from the side or the back, as if something's just trying to get your attention. And I wouldn't say it's uncommon or rare, because a lot of people report this. They report getting scratched, and more times than not, those scratches come in threes, which in the paranormal field, when that happens in threes, it's considered the spirit mocking the Holy Trinity. So, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, by scratching somebody 3 times. Now, I don't know for sure that that's what happened here. I don't know if I was being scratched or it was just marking me. Nothing weird happened to me while I was there. I didn't feel sick or anything. That's happened in another one, but I didn't get any oddball feelings. But so I don't know where this mark of 3 came from, but I don't know. Maybe it'll serve us when we go back the 5th time.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something marking me for the future.
I mean,
I'll wear the same shirt in the 5th one. It's actually this shirt that I got on right now.
Yeah, you have to. It was just very.
It's the same shirt.
It was just very distinguished amongst the other ones, as you can tell from these pictures. It does look like his armpit or his back. He just kind of brushed up against something. These 3 look very intentional, and that's probably what caught my eye, because I'm like, that's fucking weird. Yeah, it looks like scratches. Thank God he was double layered, because that. I mean, that's predominant.
And it's not uncommon that I wear, a t-shirt under a t-shirt, but it was chilly. It was November, so I had a longer sleeve shirt on underneath this one. But I still felt it, and it just, felt like a touch. It didn't feel like a scratch or anything. It was just like, someone just.
Oh, he wasn't shocked at all.
I wasn't, because I actually thought I brushed up against that. The plastic on that window.
Yeah.
Because some of that plastic's loose.
Yeah. There was no fear in your voice or anything. I'm like, and then to find that.
Right. So that's that other room upstairs.
Oh.
So this has got a story too.
Yeah.
So anyway, this room here, let's touch on this. So this is not only the oddball awards.
Again, opaque, transparent, very similar to what we've shown you with the others.
Really zoomed in shot. It's really weird. It's almost like there's something to the center here. Hard to tell, really.
Mm-hmm.
But this is another one with lots of dolls. Here's a good one for you guys. Creepy shit with the blacked out eyes. I mean, who sits there and takes the time to do this? They grab their marker and go, let's really jack this one up.
Yeah.
And color the eyes in. And, hey, honey, what do you think of this one? Put that on the shelf. I mean,
all white sounds good.
Creepy shit, man. We got Ouija boards all over this place.
We don't do Ouija boards.
We don't play with Ouija boards. Some people are okay with it, some people not so much. I have a weird theory about the Ouija board. I'm not going to tempt fate with it by any stretch of the imagination. And then there's this part of me that thinks, you know, Parker Brothers is not creating a, you know, you got to be 5 or older to play with this. That they're sending a bunch of 5-year-olds out to play with demons. So
True.
there's two sides to every story, I guess. But if you know the history of how the Ouija board came about, it literally came about for the purpose of spirit communication.
Really?
Yeah, I saw this thing on like on a History Channel or something like that. It was really cool that the guy was selling these things, and apparently he did the little, what's the,
Oh.
what do they call that damn thing that you
Dang.
plants it, or what the hell they call
I
it?
think it
You
starts with
stick,
P.
yeah, it starts with a P, put your hands on it and moves around. And apparently to sell it to a company to make, like a gaming company, to make these, he had to do this for the head honcho of the company. And the head honcho wasn't buying it at first, and so he said, well, I needed to spell my first name. Well, they didn't know his first name, apparently. So, like, him and his assistant went in to sell this board to this guy. And all he knew him was by Mr. or whatever his
Yeah,
name was. So he said, well, if this thing really works, have it spell my first name. And it did. And so he was sold on it, and he was like, okay. And so that's kind of how the Ouija board got its start and became a gaming board for spirits. But then it just blew up from there, and somewhere along the lines, people said it's summoning demons and all that stuff.
I'm kind of like you, especially because
You can still go to the toy store and buy the demons.
yeah, well, you can, but I mean, the Exorcist, isn't that how she was possessed by Mr. Whatever?
You know, I don't recall.
Yeah, she was in the basement because her mother was a big actress, and the man that she was.
Like the movie The Exorcist, or are you talking about something?
It's a version of The Exorcist, but it's a version where she is the child, and her mother is like drinking and smoking upstairs, and she's kind of spending most of her time in the basement, and she's talking to this like Mr. Woody or something like that, and in this version of the movie, like Mr. Woody is a physical person that you can see,
Okay.
but he is just communicating with her through the Ouija board.
Have you ever seen the Exorcist, the original Exorcist?
Oh man, that's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Quick story on that. So, first time I ever saw that, I was a little kid. Like I was little. I was like, I don't know, 7, 8 years old. And my brother, who was at the time he was 14, 15.
Okay.
Him and his buddy Chuck thought it would be hilarious to force me to watch this show.
Too
Because they're
young.
babysitting me. You know?
That's too young.
They're babysitting me. So they forced me to watch this movie and then send me directly to bed
Hell no!
with the door closed.
Give
I'm freaking the fuck out as a 7-year-old, and they send me to bed with this thing. And you know, you guys, anyone who's seen the movie Exorcist, the bed's jumping around, the
hell
Exorcist,
yeah.
her head's spinning around, she's levitating, all this shit.
split pea soup everywhere.
And I don't know, is my brother watching this? No? Okay, well, Mike, you're the one who did that to me. and-
Planchet.
Planchet, thank you.
Thanks,
Whoever
Mom.
told us that.
That's my mom.
Your mom? All right, very good. So, Mike, if you see this later, you're the one who did that to me. You scared the shit. I don't know if you remember it or not. It was a long time ago, but oh my God, scared the crap out of me. And I mean, I had another paranormal thing about when I was a child. And somehow now I'm like totally into this. I
Yeah.
love horror movies. It's like I don't know. I guess that switch needed
It
flipped somehow.
kickstarted, yeah, for sure. But as a 7 or 8 year old, I'm not going to bed without holy water and a crucifix if you show me
Oh
that.
my God, scared the shit out of me. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Now I can't not watch. I love watching that stuff. Now.
Oh yeah.
I can't get enough of it. And obviously, ghost hunting and stuff. I would go all the time.
It's
Like, if I could make a
addicting.
living doing this.
It's addicting because you're constantly chasing like what everybody wants to find.
Oh yeah.
And then you have your own experiences while you're doing these investigations. It's just like, damn, I have got to go back because there's more.
Yeah.
There is more. There's so much more.
It's the ultimate question to answer. You know, is there something else? You know, what's the afterlife hold for you? And if we can answer it in any way, shape, or form, which I think the more we do this, the more you start getting little answers here and there.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
You're starting to find stuff. Now, is it the answer that everybody wants? Like, well, what's it like? What's heaven like? No, it's a shit, I don't know.
No clue.
You know, honestly, if you believe in heaven, that's great. I mean, I do. I think there's something
There's
better.
something out
I
there.
think there's better there. You know, I don't know what it's like. You know, you hear, you know, at church what may be like. You hear, you know, near-death experiences
Yeah,
and things like that. People that have gone and said they've come back and things like that. You hear all that.
There's similarities, at
You know.
least for the NDEs, the near-death experience.
Yeah, I don't know how many people stretch the truth on that. I don't know how many people are telling 100% of what they believe.
True.
But I think there's something to it. There's just too much of it out there to there not be something to it. You know, and that's part of what we're doing is trying to find some of these answers. You know, and it's also exciting for us. We love going to these places. It's like the best hobby in the world. It really is.
Expensive.
If you're into that kind of thing, it's the best hobby ever.
Expensive, but the best.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there's worse hobbies, that's for sure.
Oh God, yeah.
We could be doing other shit, getting us in a lot of trouble, and this keeps us out of trouble for one. But yeah, I want to go everywhere, but it's expensive. It is. It's a great hobby, but it's expensive hobby.
It is. It's well worth it, even if you.
So anybody out there that maybe wants to become a sponsor, hey, we are happy to talk to you about doing that.
Sponsors, even if you want to buy some batteries from Amazon and send them our way.
Yeah, we take contributions.
It's all
that shit. Yeah, I'm gonna do a shameless plug. Our sponsor from last investigation, we went to the Rotary Jail, Tainted Skin Tattoos and Whodunit Piercing up in Crown Point. So they were a shameless sponsor real quick. They had nothing to do with the Monroe investigations, but great people. I got a good buddy who works with them. Well, he's one of the owners, so I could not give him a quick little plug.
Yeah, and I mean, even you all that just watch us, whether you're watching this live or you go back and watch it later, we really do appreciate your guys' support. It just keeps us going even more.
Oh yeah, like I said, if I could make a living doing this,
oh my God,
I absolutely would. I watch some of these guys on YouTube and stuff. I have a few that are my favorites. The guys from, and I'll plug them. I mean, I don't know them or anything, but so if you guys want to watch them too, pull them up. They go to amazing places and they're a good team. The guys from Paranormal Nightmares, the Foreman brothers. I really enjoy watching their stuff. I don't know that they've ever watched anything we've done, but maybe one day. Hey, if you guys are ever watching this, let's team up and do one. But I enjoy watching. They're from Ohio and they do a lot of stuff in Indiana too. So I really enjoy watching their stuff. But they are out constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost like they're out every week. I mean, they have a new video, I think, almost every Friday of the stuff they do. And if any of them ever see this, or anybody that does this on a regular basis, how do you afford it?
Correct.
Tell me, how do you pay for all of that?
Secret?
What is the secret to paying for all that? I know they sell merch and stuff, and that's something we're looking into for the future, but we're just not at that point yet. So we'll eventually get there, but it's a process. We've really kind of blown this up a lot in less than the last year.
Yeah.
Really, since bringing Tyler on last year, we talk constantly about this and what we're doing and what we would like to do.
Yeah.
With it. And so Tyler's had a ton of great input here, and not that the others on the team haven't. I mean, everybody has their share of input, but Tyler and I seem to be on the same page with just about everything that has to do with this. So I really appreciate and respect his input on this. And then any that you guys can share with us. Like I said, we want to do merch in the future, things like that, so you guys know people. I think I threw that question out a while ago.
Yeah, we had actually some good input for that.
Yeah, we had a handful of different names and stuff, so that's something I can go back to and touch base with those people too. And we'll blow it up some more.
We'll keep it, I mean, the sky's the limit.
Oh yeah, we're not done. I mean, it's not even close.
It's been great just the past 8 months or so, getting the team very cohesive. And,
Here's another good one with a couple of words. So this is going to be a good next two shots here because there's a couple of words here that are pretty defined. And we're down in the basement of Monroe. So you guys can see those a bit more in the middle. Anybody ask anything? What do we got going over there?
Nope.
So
Mom just gave us the
two
planchette.
defined.
Hi, Trina. My cousin Trina said hi.
Hey, Trina. So then there's this photo here. If you look at this thing, there are spots everywhere. This is dust.
Differentiation between
So,
dust and orb.
This is what dust would look like in a photo. It's just everywhere. So when you get one that's not like that, and you've got 2, maybe 3, there's a little one up here. It's not enough to really rule it out. You can't say for sure that it's orbs and it's terminal wall or anything like that. Like we don't know for sure that that's what that is. We don't. We don't know that it's dust. We don't know that it's not dust. But when you got 2 pictures that are so obvious, when you just got shit everywhere, and we knew the basement was dusty. I mean, we're moving around. There's shit on the floor and everything else. It's just everywhere.
And I mean, there might be a couple of orbs within this picture, but like Wayne said, there's just so much shit everywhere that it's hard for us to definitively define what's an orb and what's dust. I mean, look at all that. You may not be able to see it real well.
So if you look at this one, yeah, hopefully you guys can see it on the screen.
I mean, it's everywhere.
So kind of center that orb there. That orb, but all over this photo, everywhere the tiny little dots, that's dust.
That's dust.
This big orb here is not dust.
No.
I don't know what it is. Some sort of orb. I don't know where it comes from, what caused it, no idea. But it's definitely not part of all of these dust particles.
Yeah, you guys are getting a really good image as far as the big defined orb is at the center of those beams, but you're not getting a real good perspective of the smaller dust around it, which we know is dust. It looks almost like if you looked out your window and it's snowing.
Yeah. Good explanation.
Thanks. Sometimes
You
it's
score
hard.
one. So this picture, I took a lot of these pictures, but I put this one in our group to talk about because I wanted to talk about the hole here in the wall, because this leads into the crawl space, and we'll talk about. But when I picked this picture out of our stuff, and as we were talking about this right before we got on air here, that sometimes we take pictures and we look back on them on the camera and like, it doesn't look like that, and so you kind of delete one. And I was telling Tyler, like, careful what you delete, because there might be something there. And when I had this one, I meant for it to be about the hole. And if you look over here in the corner, zoom into this thing. Oops. All right. Hey, we're live. It's raw.
We're live and raw.
So you guys see this very defined orb here. There's a tiny little one here. This is the one that's really got my attention. Because this is a still frame shot, but if you look at this, there's something coming off of the globe here. It thins out a little, comes around here, and it's back up here, as if this thing were spinning.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know if I'm in the way here. Yes, I can't get that.
Nah, it's over your shoulder.
More in the center here for you guys.
Again, this one's hard to 100% determine like the others are, but there really are no other orbs or anything that looks like this surrounding those 2 small ones. And this again is the basement, so there's no additional light being provided that would butt up against the wall like these 2 small ones are.
Kind of crazy.
You just never know. I mean, Wayne slapped me on the back of the wrist, but I mean, now knowing, like, you're right, shit, we do need a second pair of eyes.
Try not to delete too much, yeah.
God only knows what we'll catch.
So if you guys remember the picture, the blue, and this is one of the things that tipped me off to realize that the blue room, the room with all the blue walls that I slept in, was the basement. It was right above the basement. See the chimney piece here? So I'm gonna go back real quick to that room. There's the chimney. That's how I also was like,
put it together, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like a puzzle. You put 2 and 2 together, you realize what it is. So this house is so odd. It's very chopped up. It's chopped up a little more now because they've added some walls on the main level. It used to be fairly open because they had taken out some. Over the years, the walls had been taken out some holes, and now they put more walls back in. And, you know, I drive buildings and homes for a living, and look at property all the time. And for whatever reason, I was
This
kind of
is
like,
so,
it was weird because I got like a musician getting writer's block and not being able to put anything on paper. I can look at a building, a home, and everything, and I can draft it out on paper for you. I could just pick up the paper and draft it out for you, and kind of pinpoint just by looking at it and walking around it where everything is and what room is what. Just because I've seen thousands of them, and I couldn't do that to this one.
This one's, it's just
I
impossible.
couldn't figure it out. I was, like I said, it was like a musician having writer's block. I couldn't put it on paper.
No.
But so then I stopped trying because I was just like stuck on it.
You always know what room you're in, but you never know what's above you, what's below you. Like, fuck, I don't know.
And then I went back after figuring out that one picture. Took that one picture, and then as I sat and thought about it, in my mind, everything started going together.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I could probably draft it out for you now.
Yeah,
See, it
I
was
mean,
weird,
just
but-
small piece of the puzzle's finally coming together.
And I sat there and I stared at pictures. I was on Google Earth, and I was rotating around that damn house. I was trying to put that shit together. For whatever reason, I was stuck on it. I couldn't do it. And I was kind of pissed because it's like I do this shit for a living, and I couldn't put this house together.
In fairness,
I was pissed
this
off
this
about
house
it.
is chopped up even
It's
in
very
its
chopped up.
construction. Like some of it's original, some of it's new, some of it like you're just not gonna be able to make sense
No.
of.
Not at all.
But yeah, I'm shocked. Well, I shouldn't say I'm shocked, but I'm happy that you finally put that upstairs in the blue room.
Finally figured it out. So
That's
let's get over to this hole.
that's the
Ignore me
sketchy hole.
standing there. This is meant for the cubby hole. So right here, if you can see the little hand cursor here, that was walled in. There's a little wall there. That was not there before, and you could actually crawl into that. And towards that side of the crawl space is where they found the human remains. So whether they removed them or not removed them, I don't know, but they walled this off, so you can't get in there ever again. You'd have to take that out, obviously. So, but this was cool. He built a cubby in there.
Mhm.
So you go in there and you crawl back into it, and it's just enough you can sit kind of Indian style in there after you've crawled into it. And so we're going to show you what that looks like. So that's getting a little closer into that hole, and you're going to go in the cubby that way and then back that way. So that's looking into it right at the hole. So you're going to go around that little corner,
Mhm.
and that's all it is right there. And
Yeah.
it's what, 5 feet?
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe not even that, 4.5, maybe 4 feet.
Yeah, 4 feet by maybe.
Well, here's how much
Sorry.
space is in sitting there. So if you go all the way in against that wall, and if you see this little, there's a window right here that they created,
Plexiglass.
a little plexiglass window they created right there, that looks into the crawl space. So
Yeah.
you can look into where the remains were found. But if you sit here, so we did this, and we had 3 of us in there.
Did you include that scratching picture?
No, I don't have that one. We'll talk about that every
Yeah.
time. So we had, myself was sitting in there, Alex was sitting next to me. That's all that can sit in front of that little window. And then you're back on the corner of that little cubby where you have to turn, and Casey was sitting there. And then you might be able to put somebody right inside
But there's
the hole you
nothing
walk in,
there.
but there's
So.
nothing to look at. So that's all there this is. And
It
I
is
said you have
very
to sit
small.
Indian style, you can't stand up in it at all.
I actually went in that cubby by myself, and I'm wearing sweatpants, and I've got my cigarettes in there, and something tugged on them to the point where the cigarettes almost fell out of my pocket. I'm like, oh shit! I think I told you because I was
You
like,
did.
I paused,
You did.
and I had about it seemed like 10 seconds in my head, but really I'm sure it was like 0.5 seconds that
Wasn't that when you were taking these pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had like 0.5 seconds in my head, which seems like an eternity in real time, to decide, are you gonna fucking bail? Or are you gonna go get what you
Right.
came in here to get? And
Yeah.
so I was like, you know what? This is what we came here for. You gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta
So
go
you kept
get
taking
it.
pictures,
Yeah.
and in that process, he caught these 3 defined orbs. Boom, boom, boom. They almost look like they are perfectly aligned with each other inside this cubby. And this is into the cubby. This is like where 2 people would sit to I keep wanting to point at the screen. two people would sit to look out the thing.
That is
then
the plexiglass
behind it,
window.
that's weird. Because there's not room for two to sit
No.
in the back.
No.
Like one person sits here, one person would sit up here. That's so odd. But those three perfectly defined orbs are really wild.
And again, from the beginning of this podcast, we try and take duplications. Like, let me get this picture. I saw the orbs when I took them, so I said, you know what? I'm taking another picture, which is they're all gone.
And they're gone. They literally were there for a split second.
Oh,
and
they're gone.
you were lucky enough to catch them, which was great. So I don't know if anybody saw that. My dog just walked up here. He loves getting in the screen over here. So
That's Gaston.
it's Gaston. Say hi to my ride. He's
Hi,
a good boy.
buddy.
He's a good boy. So yeah, this is part of that picture where we're like, the orbs are gone.
Where?
Where'd they go? Because you took like two pictures right after.
Yes, one right after the other.
Yeah, they were literally a second apart.
Oh.
Okay, funny story here. So I don't know how long this has been. This is the ceiling part of the basement. I don't know how long that's been taking place. I've never ever noticed it. And we saw it this time. We were like, why the hell is there money sticking out of the ceiling?
Yep.
Gaston, quit. You need to go away. Quit whining.
I thought it was just so odd. I'm like, what the hell is this for?
So what were you thinking? They're paying the spirits?
Paying tribute to the spirits, paying the spirits off to not follow them home. I have no idea. We pray in and pray out,
Stop. Go lay down.
so we don't have to drag them. They know good and well.
Good boy.
Good boy. When we're there, the spirits know good and well. They're not coming back. We've done prayed in, prayed out, but
Yeah.
I ain't bringing no dollar bills for you.
That's one thing that we're talking about.
House.
Pray in, pray out.
Yeah.
We do that like every investigation, and we never film it.
No,
it's like we've already packed all our shit up, and we're.
Well, somebody asked us the other day.
They did.
Where we hang out, and they're like, are you guys afraid of bringing anything back? Have you ever brought anything back with you? And I was like, that's really funny because nobody knows that we pray in and pray out. They just they don't get to see that. So maybe that's going to be something exciting that we'll add on our next investigation.
I think we're going to start adding that in because people were asking about that. So,
yeah.
So watch for that. It's real simple. We don't do anything extravagant. It's just a little quick one. Matt typically leads that pray in and pray out. If he's not there, I do it. So
simple but effective.
Yeah. So this is that room Tyler stayed in. There's that red couch again, if you remember. So this is what was going on in that. And I'm not going to elaborate too much on it because I was really hoping Alex was going to be here to talk about this because this was really his thing.
This was his thing for sure.
In this trip, in this investigation. So he had so much interaction at this chair with what we believed was a child spirit. And the ball sitting on the arm of that chair. And I'll zoom in here so you'll see the ball sitting right there. And the arm of the chair it's bent, or not bent, it's carved.
Yeah, it's like bowed in a little bit.
It's a design,
yeah.
So it carved a design in there. So the ball sat very nicely.
It was stable.
It was, it sat very nicely. And so we were in this room without the SLS. We had decided to go get the SLS after we were getting so much interaction here.
Yep.
Something kept knocking the ball off the arm of the chair on command.
Correct, yeah.
And then when it started out, Alex was just standing up when it first happened. Then he sat down because he thought, well, if this is a child, let me sit down and get it to its level, see if I can get it to play with me and interact. And it was working. So it's like
he's just so good at that.
He's got a good level, I guess you would say. Alex is the youngest of the group, 23. I'm telling you, whenever this guy becomes a father, he's gonna make a great dad.
Oh my God.
He's great with child spirits anyway. He's gonna be great as a dad, I think. So Alex, if you see this, compliments to you, buddy.
For sure.
So anyway, this interaction, so we decided to get the SLS camera out. And if you don't know what an SLS camera is, the SLS camera will map you out as a stick figure. So like if I pointed at it, Tyler right now would map him out sitting here.
My head, my torso, my arms, my legs.
Yep. And so we got that out. And so at the bottom of this, you see this mapped out right here.
Okay.
So you guys can kind of see this here.
Better. That's better, yeah.
So, okay, yeah, you're kind of watching on it.
Yeah.
So we're going to zoom this in even more. So you can see this is Alex over here.
He's on the left.
Yeah, so the large one over here.
Yeah.
So you can see its head down here, his body, his leg going out, leg coming down. It didn't map his arms, but I mean, it's like it's kind of stuck in there, but
Yeah.
didn't map his arms all that. But right here, where the ball is on that chair, there's this little figure mapped out. And you can see there's a head, there's two arms, the shoulders, the body, and the legs appear to be crossed.
Yeah.
Because
Indian
it's
style.
sitting Indian style, like a little kid might. And that's right where the ball is. And slowly zoom back out. So hopefully you guys were able to see that.
Yeah.
This is all on video too, so you can go back to our videos and watch some of this stuff and watch Alex interact with this.
That's why it's so good that we do it live. Like this,
Yeah,
you
this all
can't
has-
bullshit this.
Yeah.
Like when I tell you, I hate when things seem hokey. I really mean that. I say that to the team. I say it. Anybody who asks me, I hate hokey things. I hate when it seems faked. This is captured live. I mean, I don't know how else you.
And we have one major rule with our team. You fake anything, any way, shape, or form, you're done. You'll be off the team. That's it. We absolutely won't do it. So that's like our number one rule. You fake something, you're done.
Outside of
Won't
Ouija
ever be
board.
back.
That's separate. Ouija boards are separate. This is like for real.
Yeah, Ouija board's number one.
Yeah.
Faking is number one, I think.
Faking is
Ouija
number
board
one.
would be number two. We're not gonna mess with the Ouija board. So anyway, so the ball's there. The little skirt is hanging out here. That's mapped out. Very next picture, the ball drops. So you see the ball has come off of the ledge. So you can see this is a good shot of that arm.
Yo,
And
yeah,
the
it is.
groove.
It's got a nook.
Yeah, you can really see how that's concave. The ball sat perfectly in that. It was great. And so the ball starts to fall, and if you go back to the image, Alex is still mapped out in the stick figure here, but the stick figure where the ball was is gone. So it knocked the ball off, and this is actually the movement of the ball right here. It's gone. So the stick figure knocks the ball off, and it goes away. If it was mapping out the edge of the couch, it would still be there while the ball falls. Again, the ball's down here now, below.
And generally speaking, it wouldn't have mapped out anything in the center of the chair. It would have more so likely mapped out that far left leg of the chair that you're seeing as a stick figure. But when you guys saw it clearly, that thing is sitting in the middle of the fucking red velvet chair.
It's sitting there. It's just pretty obvious. So.
It had me second guessing if I'm sleeping in that room. I'll tell you that.
So if we look at it again real quick, and if you're able to see the ball just falls right off there. It was a super good catch.
Yeah.
But in the videos we have of this time in there with the ball, we got quite a bit of it because it was so active.
Yeah.
That's also when the cat ball went off around us. We were all live at that time.
A lot of activity.
A lot of great activity there. At one point, it was late in the night. You were not in there yet to sleep. You actually might have been out smoking or something. I don't know. Alex and I went back into that room for one more. It was real late, and we went back in there before we were going to stay.
Oh, yeah.
So you could go to sleep. And we were standing a little further away, and we caught a larger figure standing next to that couch.
Oh, I remember
almost
this.
like
It was
you
like
can
the-
see the outlet, the white outlet on the wall. It was kind of standing there in between the edge of that TV. You could see
Yes, like a parent or something.
like a parent.
Yeah, I
it
remember
was
that.
full size. It was adult size, and we were trying to talk to it and stuff. And so we asked it to clap, and it started clapping. It would do that,
So
and it was doing it on cue. And
that's crazy.
yeah,
because-
and I believe all that is those videos are posted too. I think we were actually live when that was happening.
The kid hugged Alex.
Oh, at one time the kid hugged Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little one. We had the little one showing up.
That might have been night 2. I'm not 100%. I wish he was here.
I do too, because Alex had stuck his arms out, kind of what you've seen now. He had stuck his arms out, and the figure on the screen stuck its arms back out,
Yeah.
like right at him. And we were just like, you hear us on the screen, like, oh my God, it's just trying to hug you back. It was really, really cool, and we'd asked it to do it.
Yeah.
It was reacting on cue. It was really crazy.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we were just talking about that earlier, that they don't act on cue. We were sure getting it out of this child spirit. That was for sure.
When you make a connection,
It's different.
it is different.
It's
You
different.
can't create a connection, they have to create it, and then once that connection's created, it's like, all right, now I'm willing to do what I can to
Yeah.
interact with you, because sometimes, you know, I have my own perception is, you know, a lot of these devices are newer. We all understand them. Obviously, we know how, all of us know how to turn on a flashlight, and we all remember the plasma balls and how they work. But a lot of these things weren't around when, like, the Monroe House kids who passed away. They
Yeah.
have no idea
They
what this is.
Wouldn't
So
know.
it's harder for them, I think, sometimes to communicate with these devices rather than just keeping it old school, like SLS,
Yeah.
perfect. You don't have to do anything outside of just be
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. And we try to explain the stuff to the spirits because we don't know
Yeah.
if they understand it or not. So, like the cat balls, once we said it, go up and touch that thing and it'll light up for you. And like, well, sometimes we will go over and touch it, so we'll try
Yeah.
to show them what
I
it will
think
do,
that works the best.
so they don't have to be afraid of it. Because they don't know what it is.
Right.
You know, and if it is a child spirit that you're interacting with, maybe they'd be afraid of it.
They're probably
I'm
very.
not gonna-
I mean, any of them, I think, would be very hesitant to be jacking with things that we're comfortable with today,
Right.
especially if it's way older spirits or entities. But I
Right,
think
right.
that, you know, when we show them, that's when we find the most success of them being utilized. I'm still waiting for the plasma balls, but the cat balls, yeah, you nailed it. Every time we
That
tend
one's
to
still
show
going?
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's still going. That one's died. I'm gonna have to change the batteries again.
And we
Stuff
just-
happens all the time.
Just changed those batteries on the
Last
last investigation.
So, that's the outside picture of the Monroe House.
Yep.
So
This is when we first got there.
this is when we first got there. So,
Matt, Wayne, and myself.
right. So the three of us were there. This was after we had walked Tyler through the main level. We didn't take him upstairs or downstairs. We walked him through the main level blindfolded. Which is some of the stuff we were talking about earlier.
I asked for that. I'm like, don't be sending me up or downstairs. My ass is definitely falling up or down.
Yeah. So we got done with that, and so he wanted to see the house from the outside and walk and get a good, view of it all, so put it all together in his head. So we walked around the house, and if you look, we'll zoom in on some of this a little bit. You can see Matt is down here. He was walking up close to the house. Tyler and I were out here off the sidewalk, actually in the street. The house sits on a corner, so we were out on the street to get a better look at it, plus you get better pictures. And so there's a very good reason why this window is highlighted here. Why this window's sort of. Tyler and I were out in the street, and we were chatting about the house. I was taking pictures, and as we're looking back at the house, we both saw the curtain up here moving. Now this is not the bedroom that has the black trash bags over top.
No.
This is the upstairs room that actually has black curtains.
Yep.
And they're a little sheer. You can kind of see them a little bit. The light comes through a little bit. We both saw the curtain move.
And I'm probably, I don't know, 6 feet ahead of him, and simultaneously our heads just go. And Wayne's like, you're like, did you see that too? Yeah, I was like, yeah, I did. There's something in the fucking window.
We both had this look on our face like something just moved up there. And we were just in the house. We knew 100% it was vacant.
Yep.
There's nobody in there.
Yep.
When we walk out of the house, you close the door and it locks.
You have to have a code.
Yeah, and to get outside where we were here, you got to get outside the fence.
Yep.
The fence closes and it locks.
That's another code.
That's another code. So, it's you can't just roam around in this thing.
No.
So we see these curtains move. So I'm like, I'm gonna take another picture. So I took another picture. So we didn't zoom in looking at the moment.
No.
We went back inside. We were shooting the shit, and we decided to look at these pictures. And this is the picture in the window. And I'm not sure how good it's going to come up on this big screen. These pictures are posted.
Yeah, if you go back and look at the posted pictures, you guys are going to get a lot better.
You'll get a better view
Visual
of the
of
picture
it,
than
yeah.
being transmitted to this large screen. But if you guys can see in the window here, and I'll try to highlight. this should be pitch black, and there is a face right here in the window. And it's more visual on my computer screen here. On my computer, I can actually make out the nose, the eye, the lips, the chin.
It's basically like a half face, just peering
it's being
out.
covered like yeah. He's looking out the window like this is covered. And he's looking like that. And I say he because I think we know.
It looks like
I think I know who it was, and it does look like a guy.
And it looks like he's wearing a suit and tie.
You can see the neck here, and then there's almost like a collar
Yeah.
here, and then the shirt goes down, and it appears to be some sort of button down at our
Yes,
our best guess, because you can kind of see a seam that goes down as if you were wearing a button down style shirt.
100%.
And then it's dark on two sides. And this is actually the curtain right here.
Yes.
That white, that's actually the curtain, but so it's dark on each side, and then this in the middle, as if it's his coat.
That was
and it's long, like it takes up the whole thing. And so back at that time, their coats were long. They wore them
Yes,
long.
absolutely.
So they weren't like your short sport coat that people wear today. It's not the same thing. I'm trying to zoom this in even more, and it's just very grainy here for you guys.
Yeah.
So I apologize for that. Now I'll try to show this one was zoomed in, and you can kind of see.
You can definitely make out.
Yeah, you can kind of like here's the
make out
nose.
the face.
Yeah, there's the mouth. This is the edge where his chin and jawline is. Neck is here, and then the shirt starts down through here.
Yep.
And then you can also, on the screen here, you can make out like the edge
I think
of
it's
the
an
ear.
ear. Yeah.
You can clearly see his eye in the photos from the screen. Again, those photos are posted on Facebook.
Way less grainy.
Way less grainy.
You'll be able to tell.
You can definitely tell what we're talking about. And this was the first time that we've ever caught a legit apparition on photo. And there, in all of our minds and everybody looking at this, I have no doubt that that's exactly what we caught. Especially because we saw the curtain move.
Well, and then
And
we
the
tried
windows
to
aren't
replicate
open,
it and couldn't replicate it. And it's like, well, how do you? It's very, very.
We really made an attempt to try to replicate the face.
That's when Alex
and we put Alex up there. Yeah, after the next day we showed them this, and so it was like, well, let's try to make it happen again with us. And so we had taken Alex up there, and I didn't put the picture on here, but I think it's posted.
It's posted.
And so we had Alex. He was sitting off just a little bit, like this a little bit. So in this sheer, and it was a little different time of day.
Yeah.
But, so you can actually see Alex's face through the sheer curtain here, but it's so similar to what we see. There's no question that we had somebody standing in this window, staring back at us. I wish that was coming through better for you guys on the.
All the more reason to go like, follow our live paranormal page on Facebook if you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, tell your friends.
Yeah.
Tell everybody, share it. Go to our YouTube. We've been working on trying to get that built up as well. So please go to that, subscribe. Of course, it's free. Any of the videos that you watch, hit that like button on those videos. Keeps us in the more updated algorithm with YouTube. So we'll do the same also on the Facebook. When you watch something, click live on it. Is there any, what do we got going on over here? Anybody saying anything?
Some likes and
just people
hellos.
watching, just a few watching.
Yeah.
Okay. And so
that room was really weird for me because that's where I had my weird experience with the.
This is that room.
Yes.
So this is that curtain we were just talking about.
Yeah.
And this is done obviously at night, so there's no light coming through. But in the daytime, you get a little light through that curtain, so it's a little bit sheer, if you will. But and that's the window. That's the exact window that figure would have been standing in.
Yep. No reason.
So that's the curtain we saw move.
And surprisingly, that room also wasn't outside of that picture and the umbrella thing spinning. That room wasn't that active either.
That was the room with the baby carriage.
The baby carriage, yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
Tell it. I gotta get up for a quick second. So Tyler's gonna tell you a story about the baby carriage.
we're all kind of just walking around the room trying to see hot spots. Matt and Wayne have the K2. I think Casey is live with our camera. Wayne's got the actual camera that we take pictures with, and I have a K2 as well. Because
Yeah, you had a K2.
yes, for sure. Because I walk around and there's actually a book at Monroe House where people will write their own stories about what they experienced and what devices worked, what they interacted with, and one of them that's pretty consistent is the baby carriage that's upstairs, and this baby carriage looks to be early 1900s.
Oh yeah, it's very, very old.
I mean, it's old as shit. You can tell by the rust. And with that being said, that means also there's no sort of electricity to it. Like, no, this is not an electrical device. You can't push a button and make the carousel spin or anything like that. But when I went down to read it with the K2, which was going off, the umbrella started spinning, and I'm on camera, and I know
Yeah,
I said
good
something
point.
like, "Oh shit, it's
Yeah.
spinning," just because it caught me so
And it
off
got-
guard.
We weren't even paying much attention to him. It got all our attention, and we all turned to look, and sure enough, you could see the little umbrella on the carriage was literally doing one of these. It was just moving.
Yeah,
It wasn't doing full spins, but it was just like back and forth spinning, and then it stopped, and then we tried to get it to do it again, and was
well, that's Alex was like,
You were
sit
sitting
down
down-
with it.
you were
And I'm
sitting
like,
down there
"Oh,
with
fuck,
it."
I don't want to sit down with it. I want to run away, but let's do this.
and then sure enough, Tyler's sitting there with it with the K2, and he's holding it around it and stuff like that, and we're trying to get it to go again, and all of a sudden there it goes again, and it freaking moved again.
Mhm.
And yeah, that was pretty wild. That was a good catch too. That was pretty cool.
That's probably
Pretty cool.
the one thing that's happened throughout all of our investigations that's actually had my fucking heart start pounding. Like, oh man, and it's my first investigation, so I'm sure Alex probably felt very similar when he was playing with the kid. It does get your adrenaline pumping, but there's also a sense of, what the fuck?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, oh man, anytime you get that, anytime you hear footsteps, and you know that you shouldn't have heard any footsteps, and you get, oh,
Yeah.
it gets your attention, but it gets your blood pumping, and you want to know where that came from.
100%. I'm just mad that it happened not where we were.
Maybe not everybody would want to know it came from. Some people might, run the fuck off with it.
No.
No, it's we sometimes we might jump, get a little spooked, but then it's like we go after it.
Yeah.
Other people may not, but
You gotta get your mind right, because whatever happens, it does catch you off guard, even though you're expecting it.
yeah,
Like, you're
asking
hoping,
for it.
but then when it happens, you're like, what the fuck?
yeah, you're asking for it, but then it'll still spook you. Right? It's pretty cool. Like I said earlier, it's the best hobby in the world. I wouldn't want to do anything different as far as a hobby.
No, it's so fun. I will. That picture you posted the other day where it's like your friends at 1 a.m., my friends at 1 a.m., and it's like,
Oh yeah.
and
So
no, guys, we love to have a good time,
Yeah.
but our 1 a.m. on investigation weekends looks a lot different than a normal Friday or Saturday 1 a.m.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
here, especially now that we're in the month of May. I can only imagine how 1 a.m. should be
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah, actually 1 a.m.s in the month of May will probably have me sleeping all the time, so I can get up and go to the track the next day.
True.
So, speaking of that, before we close out, we are going to do a indie special. So it's the month of May. For those of you who may watch this and don't live around here in
I'm sorry for that.
Speedway, Indiana,
Sorry
I'm
for
sorry
you.
about you poor bastard. I'm kidding. But I'm not kidding to one regard, because this is our Christmas.
Yeah,
The month of May is Christmas for us. We're Speedway kids. We grew up here, going to the track. Those of you who know us or know living here, you totally get it. If you don't, you may not get it. But so what we've decided to do is do an indie special in 2 weeks before the race. So we'll do it after qualifying.
Yep.
So the week leading up to the race, probably Wednesday again, and probably work best. It'll be Tuesday or Wednesday, something like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But so we got some stuff put together, and so we're going to cover not the track so much because of what we do here. We're going to cover the tragedy that has taken place. So it's going to be a special regarding that. So tune in a couple weeks. We'll throw it out a few more times to remind everybody that that's what we're going to talk about. So we're going to do an Indy special, a live Emerald live paranormal Indy special.
Yeah.
We'll go over some things. We'll have some cool photos to share. So yeah, if you're paying attention to that, I think
that's gonna be a fun
it's gonna
one.
be
For
cool.
us specifically.
For us, it'll be very cool.
I see Casper.
Other race fans are probably gonna like it. You know, it may even be emotional for some. I mean,
When you were describing it, I mean, even just now, I have chills just because.
Just wait till you get to it.
Yeah.
I've already started putting some of it together, so you know, we'll have it ready to go in a couple weeks, and we'll broadcast that one. We'll do the same thing on Facebook and YouTube both. So
yeah.
You know, it'll be live on both of them.
Absolutely.
Any last questions on anybody?
No, just shout out to Seeking Casper. They said sorry that they were late. They're gonna rewatch later. Hope you all are doing well.
Very good. Rewatch later. Who else is on there?
That's my mom. That's not Chelsea. TJ was on.
TJ.
Said hi to him earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been
Cool.
a handful of people on and off.
Okay. Good deal.
Well,
All right.
thank you all very much for watching. Like Wayne said, please keep an eye on our Facebook page. There's lots more to come. Lots more investigations coming up in the near future.
Yeah. Already got some calls out. We're gonna get some stuff set up for this summer. We've talked to a couple locals. I think we're gonna do some local this summer as well. And then we'll do more of these. Obviously, we're gonna do some more podcasts, talk about more of the investigations that we've been on. We won't all do them all here. This setting is actually my cave, what I call my cave. But it's working out great for this setup. So we can use the screen behind us and so forth.
Seeking Casper said there is free parking here at your house.
Free parking. So it's free parking to those I know. I'm not going to say it's free parking because then all these people show up and there's going to be all these freaking people want to park in my yard. I do not park people in my yard. I will get you into my driveway. I've got room in the driveway. We'll get you in there. And if I know you, I might have a spot on the side yard. So yeah, Seeking Casper, if you guys are looking to come out to the race or qualify, holler at me, and yeah, we'll probably get you a spot. So no problem there. Yeah, God, no, it's not free parking for everybody. I don't need all those people I don't know show up at my house.
Absolutely not.
I live just close enough to the track to walk to it, so it's fine. But I'm also just far enough away from it. I don't have to deal with a ton of traffic.
That's so true.
And you know, and the riffraff. Maybe I'm just getting old. You know, as I was younger, I was all about the riffraff when I was younger. But yeah, I like being able to get back from the track myself and chill out. And, and be at home and enjoy myself. So yeah, we'll talk about it. If you guys want to park there, holler at me. So I think we're going to sign off here.
We appreciate you all.
Thank you guys so much.
See you on the next one.
And nice job, Luke.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure.
Get that in, you want to put together. And that's gonna be a time.
Yeah.
There's some fun stuff out there for everybody.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. How am I?
Yeah, we're a lot more.
Yeah.
All right. Deal. Sweet.